Thank you. Mayor, I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Elmwood Park Mayor and Council for March 16, 2023, to order at 7 o'clock p.m. On roll calls, we have Council members Dennis. Here. Golovic. Here. Fasolo.
Here.
Pellegrin.
Here.
Sheridan.
Here.
Council President Ballasteri.
Here.
Mayor Coletti.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. We'll welcome everybody this evening. We've got an action-packed night ahead of us. We're going to be celebrating some athletes and a coach that's going to be leaving us, moving to another state, and a lot of good goodies. But first, if everyone can please rise for our prayer and flag salute. We'll start off with our prayer that will be given by Pastor Ron.
Good evening, everyone. Elmwood Park, look at us, our town. This is great. This is great, just for the love that we have amongst each other. It's paramount when you think about it, because I've been to other towns and been to their council meetings, but what we're doing and what we have is the love of God, and that's paramount, and that's in our hearts. Can we please bow our heads? Eternal Father, we want to thank you. Thank you for this governing body of Elmwood Park. You are the God of love, and you have imparted that in our town and our community. 2 Chronicles 7:14 says, if my people will humble themselves and pray, we have humbled ourselves as a town and a community to come together and pray for each other. We thank you, Father, for your tender kindness. We thank you for your loving. We thank you for all that you have done. And also, right now, Father, we have some residents that's going through some illnesses and some trials. Let us come together and collectively edify and build them up in prayer. I thank you, Father. I thank you for the town, for all that you have done for me, but this is not about me. This is about Elmwood Park, New Jersey. We thank you for our children, the parents, our rec center. I can go on and on. But because of who you are, you're the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, and you know it all. But we just want to honor your dominion and your majesty in his precious name. And we all say, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Ron. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. God and country, yes. Whereas Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of the State of New Jersey require at the commencement of every meeting a statement of compliance be read by the presiding officer. Now, therefore, be advised that the meeting requirements for this meeting have been met by publishing a special meeting notice in the Record and Herald News, and by posting such notice in the office of the Borough Clerk, as well as in a public place within the municipal building. Also by notifying interested citizens. Said notice was posted and transmitted on January 6th, 2023, and published on January 10th, 2023.
At this time, we're going to have approval of minutes. We have November 3rd, 2022 work session, November 10th, 2022 regular meeting, November 10th, 2022 executive session, December 1st, 2022 work session, December 1st, 2022 executive session, December 15th, 2022 regular meeting, December 27th, 2022 special meeting.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
First by Pellegrin, second by Sheridan. Our roll call, we have council members Dennis.
Yes.
Fasolo.
Yes.
Golovic.
Yes.
Pellegrin.
Yes.
Sheridan.
Yes.
Council President Ballasteri.
Yes.
Minutes approved. At this time, we're going to ask the coaches come forward for the EP crew team recognition, along with the Recreation Commissioner, Councilwoman Dennis, and Mayor Robert Coletti.
our director, Tishon, and his office staff for doing a great job preparing our fields and assist us with the seasons. So our 2022 fall season was very successful. We had 6 teams competing in the Morris County League. We have 2 teams that took first place and 1 team that earned the second place. Our U10 Lions were undefeated. They scored 46 goals and conceded only 9 goals during the season. They're first-time champions. Now the 4-time champions, U12 team, the Eagles, they scored 27 goals during the season and only let in 12 goals. So all of the boys and Maria, I congratulate you on your successes, and we thank you and your parents, and especially your coaches, for great teamwork, for leading you to this success during this fall season. All right, and we wish you many, many wins and good luck in the spring season. Thank you so much. I'm going to call their names now. Christian Devza. Omer. Ayub. Pragney. Sebastian. Bravo. Martin Marut. Ariel now. Bravo, Ariel. Christian Piechak. Maria Urginowska. She's a tough girl. Adrian Xavier. And Coach Zenon Nobilski. Coach Zenon. And we have one more trophy for our new incoming coach who's been assisting, and now he's going to, help out more. Is he here? Coach Krzysztof? No? We're going to give it to Chris, okay? All right. All right. Bravo, you can, Lions. Bravo, Lions. Okay, now we're going to have U12 boys. Our Eagles are Julian. He's not here? How about? Antonio Cabrera. Timothy. You make it up. Hold on. Karam Khan. Is Karam Khan? No. Dominic Kaminowski. There we go. Gabriel Marani. There's 2 Gabriels. Michael Marut. Paul Mosicchio. Congrats, Paul. Brendo Pereira. Gabriel Ramirez. Enes Seju. Dominik Świętoniowski. He's here. He's here. Congrats, Dominic. Adam Batista. Oh, no. Zlatko Iganowski. Sean Gardenblad. Sean? And coach, and our coach, Luis Cabrera. Here you go. Bravo. Thank you so much and good luck this season in spring.
All right. I don't know where to start here. Guys. Very proud of you guys. We work hard, show up to practice, and all we do is work hard, practice hard, right? Yeah. So you stick with it, you show up, have fun, right? Yeah. That's what we get. Work. Very proud of you guys, all right? Can't wait for this season.
So council lady who's our designated.
Keep it up. We'll keep awarding you and celebrating you. We thank you guys for representing Elmwood Park in such a positive way. Make sure you attend those practices, and every time you get there and you get to those games, thank your parents for their dedication for you guys, and make sure that you arrive, you're well hydrated and fed, and you're ready to play these games. Continue doing a good job. Congratulations.
When I first got here, there was some children that said to me, "Remember what you promised me last year?" I said, "They don't know. I don't even remember what I had for lunch this afternoon." But in any case, they reminded me that if they were going to do this again and be that successful, that it would be called Crew Day. So I am officially, for this year only, because you need incentive for next year, officially making a proclamation as the mayor of this town that this is Crew Day. And now, as any good coach would say, we're dangling the carrot for you guys for next year, so go out there and give it all you got. Everybody, please stick around. We're going to have another presentation, and then we're going to have the council and the mayor make comments on the crew and this other gentleman we're going to bring up in honor in just a moment. We'll take the pictures later, all right? Before we get to that,
It needs no back.
ladies and gentlemen, this is Linda Calabini, president of the homeowners.
Tracy. Recording secretary, is that better now? Okay. And I just want to say, without these people, we couldn't make this possible this evening. I want to thank them for all the support. We work very well as a team. And I also want to thank a few other people that have been supporting me all the way. And that would be yourself, Mayor Coletti, Chief Foligno, Sal Ingrafia, and Councilwoman Lorraine Pellegrin. They're always behind me 100%. And once again, I couldn't do it without all of you. We are a team. So I'm sure I speak for everyone. We're very proud once again to present you with a check for $500 to go towards your Vietnam Memorial Monument. There we go.
I thought at first she made it out to me personally. No,
I ripped that one up.
no, we would have to rip that up quick. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know what we're doing, we are in the process of having a statue made to honor the veterans of the Vietnam War. What's going on, it should be done April and May. We are going to erect it, of course, from the old TD Bank, across from the firehouse, Van Riper and Mola Boulevard. That corner there is our designated spot for it. But I do want to say that what our mission was, what our objective was to have private industry and entities like such donate so that it was no burden on the taxpayers. And to this date, including this check, we've received $113,500. That's not taxpayer money, it's from different entities. We will continue, we need about another $25,000 to get the statue paid off. There's going to be a lot of donated work there, so we don't have to encumber that cost. But we do need some additional miscellaneous money. So keep us in mind, any of you entities out there that would like to help us out for this great day for the Vietnam soldier and for Elmwood Park. Thank you, ladies. One final note, homeowners, they convene on every fourth Wednesday of the month. Now, some of you may say, well, homeowners, what's the big deal? You know, it's very important. As a homeowner in Elmwood Park, you have to be concerned with your taxes, your school, and your safety. So at these meetings, we discuss that, and they bring in speakers relating to what I just said. So that's the fourth Wednesday, homeowners, Linda Colombini, and you promised coffee, right? At least coffee. We're going to get coffee in. Sounds good. Okay. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Thank you. Where's the plaque? All right. You guys got to forgive me. I left the plaque in the back. Hold on.
All right.
Okay, a special moment for Elmwood Park, a special moment for me, and a special moment to anyone out there who knows Jeff Leder. Jeff has been involved in sports for decades. We're not talking about years, decades. He's going to leave us with his lovely wife, Dina, and three children. Are going to go to Florida, Sunshine State. Taxes are cheaper there, Jeff? Yeah. Cost of living cheaper? Okay. Well, before I present you with this, you do have a special room for me when I come down, right? Okay. We're all going to get a chance to speak about Jeff. I'm going to bring him up here now. We'll give him the award. Then we're going to speak about the crew and Jeff. Jeff, front stage, please. And the plaque reads, Borough of Elmwood Park recognizes Jeff Leader in appreciation of your 26 years of dedication and commitment to the children, coaches, and families of Elmwood Park. We say thank you very much. We are very proud of your work you have done, the person you are, and the difference you have made. Given by the Mayor and Council, Elmwood Park, New Jersey, March 16, 2023.
It's just fitting after so many years that it was my second to the last time that I'm surrounded by children. I started a long time ago in 1987, probably some of you have been in this town, and I continued, I coached St. Leo's basketball, I coached Elmwood Park Little League, Elmwood Park Bombers, we had street hockey in this town. I did that. Whatever it was, I got involved with. And it was just so you are aware of us for the love of your children. That was the reason I did it. I shed a lot of tears with my teammates, a lot of happy moments, a lot of seasons we lost, a lot of seasons we won championships. But it wouldn't have been possible without the residents of Elmwood Park. And I truly thank parents and the children that I was able to affect as they grew up, went to college, and they went on, and actually some of them went to the NFL that I had the honor to coach. I'd like to thank the mayor and council. I've worked with some of you extensively, Sandy being on the rec board with me for many years, and to Sean, he's going to give me a great big smile now. Many times I've screamed and yelled at meetings. Sean, you know I love you. And Sandy was able to be there with me. You know, I come across, and they will never say it because a lot of them are up for election, but I am a very controversial person. I've always wanted things to be the right way. And there was many times I would call our chief of police up, and he could hear the aggravation or the intensity in my voice. And the reason it wasn't about my children. I did get to coach my kids, but then they passed on, and I had no kids in the program anymore. It was about your children, and to give them what I thought they really needed 100%. I was your voice. I was the one that made things happen and tried to do things. So Sandy, I want to thank you for that, and to Tanisha. Probably everybody that's on this council up here, she is probably the one that really gets me. She's the one that's somewhat like me. She's the one that, she's not as loud as I am, but thank you for always being there for the kids. I understood that with you when you took this on. I actually had the honor to coach your kids, and I see what you're doing. And to have you sit on those rec board meetings with me, I know that I have an ally with me, and I wanted to thank you for that. Truly appreciate that. To this gentleman, and this is a tough one. We grew up together, we graduated together, we get into fights, we love each other, and I could call him at any time. It could be 11 o'clock at night, and he'll pick up the phone, and he'll be like, what do you want? And I'll tell him what I want or I'm asking for, and they say, you got it. And, you know, I'm not trying to, this guy's never ever said no to me, within reason. And we've, you know, just get along really, really well, and we have the same ideas what we want to do for this community. And I can't thank you enough, Mike, for not only being our chief of police and borough, but being my friend. You know, I truly appreciate that. And last but not least, I started coaching early. I started in the early 80s, actually 87 I started. And I had the honor and the privilege to coach my children. My kids came, they went through the program, and then I kept going on. But as a football coach, when I coach for the Bombers, we don't just coach and show up from 6 to 8 to practice or whatever it may be. We have coaches meetings, we have film work, we have defensive meetings, offensive meetings. There's constantly stuff that keeps me away from home. And I couldn't do or what I wanted to do or live my best life without my wife, Dina. She gave me the opportunity to watch our special needs kids and get my daughter to dance while I was out being on the football field or being on the diamond or whatever it may be. I could not do what I wanted to do without you, and I truly appreciate for all the years that you let me do what I wanted to. Now, I'm moving on to better, I say better things, but, what's that, Jess? I'm moving on, another 8 to 10 weeks I get to spend it with my board, who, thank you guys for coming, Chris, Jimmy, Jessica, Eileen, Nicole, Neil, and Gail. That's not my board, our board for Little League, and those things I take with me. I'm so happy that you guys did show up here tonight. Thank you for that. I really appreciate that. But I'm moving on, and the last thing I would like to say is that I might be going to Florida to become just a dad. It's time for me to retire and enjoy my family. But my heart and soul is going to be left here in Elmwood Park. And just remember one thing is that take care of your kids, let them smile, let them have fun, enjoy it. And the last thing I can say is that my body might be leaving Elmwood Park, but my heart will be stuck here forever, and I will always be Elmwood Park's #1 fan. Thank you.
Okay, council comments. Councilwoman Dennis?
Change this first thing. I'm here? Okay. Once again, crew, congratulations. We're all very proud of you. Hope you have a great spring season. To Jeff, I've sat through your goodbye with the Bombers. We mentioned you at the Veterans Memorial, and again this evening, the dedication to the, not the memorial, the field. And again this evening, I'm trying really hard to hold my tears back as I see Neil trying hard as well. You're going to be sorely missed. I'm happy to say that you were one of my children's coaches, and because of you, he still has that love of the sport. You've made a big difference in all the kids' lives at Elmwood Park for all the years that you coach, and your legacy will live on. I don't know how you did it for 26 years. I did it for like 26 minutes, and I can't take I can't take the anxiety and the emotions and everything that's put into it. So you're one of my heroes. We really appreciate you dedicating your life to our town and our children, and I wish you nothing but warm days, sunshine, and happiness in your new home. And again, just thank you for everything you gave Elmwood Park.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Fasolo?
Thank you, Mayor. I want to first congratulate EP Crew. It seems like every year you're making us proud and make your community proud. Thank all the parents, all the coaches for all your dedication, bringing them to practice. I know it's hard nowadays, both parents working. It's definitely tough. So I want to thank all of you for your dedication to our youth, and congratulations. And I'll see you back here next year. Okay. In life, no matter how old you get, you remember that specific teacher, that specific mentor that has always had an impact on your life. And in Elmwood Park, that's Jeff Leader. Jeff, you've been a pillar for our community for many, many years. And I just want to thank you for your dedication to our youth. Our youth is very important. It's the future of our town, and you definitely shaped our future. And it looks definitely bright. There's definitely going to be big shoes to fill, so thank you for all your commitment to the Elmwood Park community, and good luck and God bless to you and your family.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Golubek.
Thank you, Mayor. First and foremost, to the Homeowners Association run by Miss Linda Colombini, thank you for the donation. I want to stress to everyone that donations from the Homeowners Association may be new in terms of our council meetings presenting them, but they go back many years, scholarship for high school students and a lot of different things. So I want to point that out and say thank you. To the EP crew, I want to thank the coaches, everyone that runs the program, Zenon, Helena, Coach Brandon, all the coaches, and to the players and obviously the families. I think, you play what I think is the most beautiful sport on earth. Some may disagree, but I do believe in that, and continue with the sport forever. Soccer's not something that ends at 18. It's the one sport that really stays with you as an athlete and in so many ways throughout your life. So every time you go to a different town and you do well, you make Elmwood Park look really, really good. So we really appreciate that. To Mr. Jeff Leader, you will be missed. I'm a student of history, so I know all the different people that have come through Elmwood Park over the years in coaching, and the people that I've experienced in my time in Elmwood Park, and I can confidently say I can count on two hands the amount of people that amount to Jeff Leader's dedication, love, and care for the kids of Elmwood Park, for Elmwood Park itself, and all the programs in Elmwood Park. Literally, I mean, maybe even on one hand, people that fit into that category. So Jeff, you'll be missed. It was a pleasure to know you, to get to know you, to become your friend. And I wish you and your beautiful family all the very best. Thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Pellegrin?
Yes, good evening, everyone. Congratulations to EP Crew, the Lions, and the Eagles for your exceptional season in 2022. Congratulations to the players, the coaches, and the parents. We as a community are very proud of all you have achieved. Hard work and dedication pays off. It's an honor to recognize all of you tonight. Enjoy every moment of this celebration. You deserve it. You're welcome. Congratulations to Jeff Leader. Jeff, thank you for all your dedication to our community, giving years to our Little League and to the Bombers. You have given so much to our youth and to our community. Your passion for being the voice of children battling rare diseases is evident in all that you do. You fight the fight for all who need help to give these children the best chance possible. God bless you, Jeff. I wish you and your entire family all the best when you move to Florida. May your new journey be filled with good health and much happiness. And again, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for all the service that you have given to our community. God bless you, Jeff.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
One more, Mayor. And to Linda Colombini, thank you for your generous check to the Vietnam Memorial and for all the Homeowners Association does for our community. The monthly bus trips you run, the profits all go back to our community, helping all different organizations all year long. Our monthly meetings always have a guest speaker and valuable information is shared. Also, the association showcases our local businesses to promote thriving business district. I thank you and your team for all you do for the residents of our community. Come be a part of the Elmwood Park Homeowners Association the fourth Wednesday of every month at 7 p.m. Thank you all.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilwoman Sheridan?
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I'd like to say to the crew, I'd like to thank the parents. It's rough working and trying to balance children, especially if you have more than one child. I'd like to say congratulations to the kids. Keep up the great work. You got to believe in yourself and you'll get to where you're at today. Jeff, as far as you go, I didn't know you that well, but what I did know of you, you're a hell of a guy. You've got a hell of a family. I don't know how you balanced everything all these years. I'm sure it was rough. I'm sure you had a hard time. I'm gonna miss you. I'm gonna miss your motorcycle rides. Can't forget about them. And lots of luck to you. And I hope everything works in the way you want it. Linda, as far as you go, you know how I feel about you. That's it, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilwoman Sheridan. Council President Ballesteri.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to congratulate Crew, Lions, and Eagles on your championships for 2022. We are always happy to see you back before us with this amazing season achievements. Thank you to the coaches for your time and effort working with these children. teaching these athletes to learn the game of soccer. Your dedication should be commended. As a parent of 5 children that played sports, I know that the parents play a key part of not only bringing their athlete back and forth to the games, but teaching them about commitment. As a whole, the athlete, the coaches, and the parents are what brought them here once again this evening. Congratulations to all. Keep up the hard work. Jeff, you and your family should be very proud of your community involvement in Elmwood Park. We appreciate your fight within you to make a difference. Your most impressive journey is your strength for Justin and Jason as they battle every day of their life with Hunter syndrome. Both you and Dina are true heroes to all those families that are experiencing the same as your family. Jeff brought awareness to this disease to all of us and continues to fight while still giving his time to Little League, Recreation Board, and all his community involvement. I wish you, Dina, and your precious children all the best. You got this, Jeff. If anyone can stop this beast that lives within these individuals with rare disease, I know you can. You're the voice of millions. God bless, and enjoy your next chapter with your beautiful family of 5.
Thank you, Sandy.
You're welcome, Mayor.
Let me start off with Linda Colombini. She is a wonderful person. What you see with Linda is what you get. She's outspoken but honest. I love people like that. She's doing a heck of a job with her institution there, the homeowners. And Linda, thank you very much for the consideration and always being there for us. Linda. EP crew, I gave you enough tonight. You got a designated night in your honor. You all happy about that? Yeah. Oh, come on, I can't hear that. Yeah. All right, you know what we got to do next year again, right? And then I will proclaim it to be Crew Day once again. But you got to go and do it, all right? Okay, guys, I want to say that any great organization starts off with naturally the children, then the coaches, and without the last item, it goes nowhere, and that's participating parents. And obviously, this crew's parents are exceptional. They're carrying it on. They're into what their children are doing. It's a social event. It brings people together that would never know each other if it wasn't for their children to be in the same organization. So I take my hat off to all of you and stay the course, all you parents. Last but not least, and I have to take a walk down memory lane with this, is Jeff Leader. I know Jeff probably since he's been the age of these young people right here in the front row. And I recall moving on the block and the leaders were already there. And I had my son and my daughter, they were friends with Jeff and all the other kids on the block, and they'd be sitting on my back porch. And to show you how long ago it was, the back porch steps were wood. They're masonry now. But they'd be sitting there, and I'd hear from the distance, as I'm pulling in the driveway, I hear this voice, "Hey, Mr. Coletti!" Now, we all know Jeff has a loud voice, am I right? I said to myself, this guy he's outgoing, and with that voice, he's gonna be a coach someday, for sure. And lo and behold, a couple of years later, my son Bobby was about 7 years old. Jeff's older now, adolescence, and he comes to the door and he says, "Hey, Mr. Coletti, how come we don't have your son Bobby signed up for football?" I said, "Well, I really didn't know about it." Well, he said, "No, we're going to get him signed up." So we signed him up. Like most kids at that age, half of them are into it, half of them aren't. My son was sitting on the bench with the water bottles when everybody else was playing football, but Jeff didn't give up on him. He stayed with him. You know sometimes as parents that what we say starts to lose its value, and you need somebody else to say it. And he did a good job with that. He got my son to play the Bombers, who eventually went to St. Joe's High School, played both sides of the ball. And now Jeff, that little kid you were coaching and pushing, is also coaching football and baseball. So I thank you very much for that. His family in town, well-known, participated in our fire department. Jeff's father and his brother, which are not with us no longer, but they were heavily involved, and I guess that rubbed off on the son as far as the dedication to Elmwood Park. And they're looking down right now, Jeff and Diane. They're looking down right now, so very, very much to be proud of. And then you would think that Jeff was done with 26 years of service. He gets involved with this Hunter's disease, gives me a call, and he says, "Bob, do you know Mr. Pasquale?" I said, "Yeah, I know him." He says, "You think you can get an audience with him?" I said, "Sure, fine. Here, I'll call and you go." He said, "No, come with me." Went to Mr. Pasquale's office. He explained to him what was going on and the urgency that had to be done quickly as far as the Congress was concerned regarding getting this medicine that hasn't been approved yet, push it through to help to stop this spread of this disease. Well, 2 months, 3 months later, Jeff is going to Washington. He's there speaking out nationally, what he did with the organization, and to this day, he has saved a lot of lives, and for that, Jeff, I applaud you. Thank you. We're going to take a short intermission.
Okay, Mayor, moving on with our agenda, we have ordinances on first reading. We have Resolution R-124-23, introduce ordinance number 23-08 on first reading. Be it resolved that an ordinance entitled, "An Ordinance to Amend the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park, New Jersey, amending the Borough Code and all general ordinances of the borough, more specifically Section 9, Chapter 4, entitled Licensing and Business Regulations within the Borough of Elmwood Park," be passed and adopted on first reading, and be it resolved that a final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, April 20th, 2023 at 7:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter as same can be heard, at which time any person interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk be and she is hereby authorized to advertise in a legal newspaper a notice of introduction and final hearing as required by law.
Mr. Ingraffia, would you mind breaking this down for us?
Yes, Mayor, it's been conveyed by the Cannabis Board that there are many more interested license requests that we have issued, and in order to maintain the potential aspect of having people who are interested in certain licensing to still maintain an opportunity where potentially the state has not finalized some of the licensing that were already been passed and approved, we really wouldn't think that you want to lose the opportunity of having these other potential licenses sitting as a backup. So this would just expand the number of licensing in the various districts.
Now, Mr. Ingraffia, correct me if I'm wrong, this is mandatory from the state?
Well, it's not mandatory from the state, but the state prefers to see opportunities not closed, but opportunities open.
I see. May I have a motion on the ordinance?
So move.
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
First by Fasolo, second by Pellegrin. Our roll call, we have council members Dennis,
Yes.
Fasolo,
Yes.
Golombek,
Yes.
Pellegrin,
Yes.
Sheridan,
Yes.
Council President Ballasteri.
Yes.
Motion carries. Now we have Resolution R-125-23, introduced ordinance number 23-09 on first reading. Be it resolved that an ordinance entitled, "An Ordinance to Amend Chapter 7, Traffic of the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park," more specifically Article 7-14.1, parking prohibited during certain hours on certain days, be passed and adopted on first reading. And be it resolved that a final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, April 20th, 2023, at 7:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter as same can be heard, at which time any persons interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk be and she is hereby authorized to advertise in the legal newspaper a notice of introduction and final hearing as required by law.
Mr. Foligno, would you be so kind to break it down?
Yes, Mayor. This is designating the rearmost parking lot of the municipal building as an employee-only lot during normal business hours. It allows for people who visit the building and residents to park closest to the building and not have to fight with employee cars.
Thank you. I have a motion on the ordinance.
Second?
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
First by Pellegrin, second by Fasolo. On roll call, we have council members Dennis.
Yes.
Fasolo.
Yes.
Golubek.
Yes.
Pellegrin.
Yes.
Sheridan.
Yes.
Council President Ballesteri.
Yes.
Motion carries. Resolution R-126-23, introduced ordinance number 23-10 on first reading. Be it resolved that an ordinance entitled, "An Ordinance Amending and Supplementing the Code of the Borough, Chapter 2, entitled Administration," more specifically Section 2-27.27.2, entitled Police Chaplains, same to be amended to contain the following language herein. Be passed and adopted on first reading, and be it resolved that a final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, April 20th, 2023, at 7:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter as same can be heard, at which time any persons interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk be and she is hereby authorized to advertise in a legal newspaper a notice of introduction and final hearing as required by law.
Once again, Mr. Foligno, please break it down.
Yes, Mayor. This is an ordinance creating the position of chaplain for the police department's table of organization.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
Second?
Discussion. Call the roll, please.
First by Pellegrin, second by Fasolo. On roll call, we have council members Dennis.
Yes.
Fasolo.
Yes.
Golubek.
Yes.
Pellegrin.
Yes.
Sheridan.
Yes.
Council President Ballesteri.
Yes.
Motion carries. Resolution R-127-23, introduced ordinance number 23-11 on first reading. Be it resolved that an ordinance entitled, "Bond Ordinance to Appropriate an Additional Sum of $230,000 for the Undertaking of Streetscape Improvements to Mola Boulevard from Linden Avenue to Phillip Avenue and by and for the Borough of Elmwood Park in the County of Bergen, New Jersey, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such additional appropriation and to provide the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds." Be passed and adopted on first reading. And be it resolved that a final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on April 20th, 2023 at 7:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter as same can be heard, at which time any persons interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk be and she is hereby authorized to advertise in a legal newspaper a notice of introduction and final hearing as required by law.
Once again, Mr. Foligno.
Yes, Mayor. The borough received a grant for a portion of Mola Boulevard for the decorative lighting project from Linden Avenue to Phillip Ave. This is the bond for the balance of that project that the borough is responsible for.
Thank you. Motion, please.
Second?
Discussion. Call the roll.
First by Pellegrin, second by Fasolo. On roll call, we have council members Dennis.
Yes.
Fasolo.
Yes.
Golubek.
Yes.
Pellegrin.
Yes.
Sheridan.
Yes.
Council President Ballesteri.
Yes.
Motion carries. Resolution R-128-23, introduced ordinance number 23-12 on first reading. Be it resolved that an ordinance entitled Bond Ordinance to Authorize the Making of Various Public Improvements and the Acquisition of New Additional or Replacement Equipment and Machinery, New Communication and Signal Systems Equipment, New Information Technology Equipment, New Additional Furnishing and New Automotive Vehicles, including original apparatus and equipment, and by and for the Borough of Elmwood Park in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, Jersey to appropriate the sum of $872,700 to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds, be passed and adopted on first reading, and be it resolved that a final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, April 20th, 2023, at 7:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter as same can be heard, at which time any persons interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk be and she is hereby authorized to advertise in the legal newspaper a notice of introduction and final hearing as required by law.
Mr. Feligno, one more time.
Yes, Mayor, this is a bond for various types of equipment for DPW, police, fire, building department, and fire prevention for items that are outside the normal operating budget.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is equipment, if I may just piggyback on what Mr. Feligno said, this is equipment that is necessary to keep our roads clean, garbage off the streets, and et cetera, our police department equipment. And we do this once a year, and it's a normal thing. May I have a motion on the ordinance?
Second.
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
First by Pellegrini, second by Fasolo. On roll call, we have council members Dennis. Fasolo.
Yes.
Golubek.
Yes.
Pellegrini.
Yes.
Sheridan.
Yes.
Council President Ballestieri.
Yes.
Motion carries. Resolution R-129-23, introduce ordinance number 23-13 on first reading. Be it resolved that an ordinance entitled, an ordinance to amend the Code of Borough of Elmwood Park, New Jersey, more specifically the cannabis ordinance and the zoning site plan to permit and govern legal cannabis and marijuana operations within the Borough of Elmwood Park to allow use to more designated location within the borough. Be passed and adopted on first reading, and be it resolved that a final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, April 20th, 2023, at 7:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter as same can be heard, at which time any persons interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk be and she is hereby authorized to advertise in a legal newspaper a notice of introduction and final hearing as required by law.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Sal, a little discussion on this, please?
Yeah, and for an explanation, Mayor, again, with regards to this amendment, it was been discussed with the council, has been beaten up a little bit. Also, the planner has had input in it and provided the information for this ordinance to be prepared. I prepared it in order to expand areas in town because the present areas have gone to the point that they are zoning themselves completely out because of the price they were asking. And potential licensees can negotiate anywhere else, so therefore it becomes necessary to expand the zoning in the areas, and this is all around Route 46. So in order that they'll be able to attempt to get licensing areas.
Would you, in your opinion, say that the zoning now is enough for this item?
Well, in originally speaking, when the particular original ordinance was prepared by me, it was anticipated that certain areas in town would be very appropriate for it. However, unbeknownst and more in recent times, there's been more licensing requests. Also, unbeknownst, that the property owners will be asking exuberant prices for the property, thereby not giving the opportunity for the licensed cannabis operators to participate and negotiate. And you need to expand it in order to keep competition because, as you may very well be aware, Mayor and Council, you have Rochelle Park, you have Saddlebrook now, that have now gotten into the participation and creation of cannabis zoning. And we're going to be beginning to compete. And if we don't expand the area, it makes it difficult for us to compete.
Yeah. But would you say it's safe now that we do have enough zoning in reference
I
to
would
that?
think that in this particular instance, with regards to the limited aspect of this, which would be processing and retailing, for that aspect, I think we should be in pretty good shape.
Thank you, Mr. Ingraffi.
Mayor, if I may, just to add to what Sal says, when we did the zoning in the first, like when we first did a cannabis ordinance, the state didn't issue micro licensing. So we had that as a requirement, which really limited the spaces because we were only in that certain section of 46, which now we just opened 46 and, opens up some more competition.
Yeah. No, that's correct, Mr. Fasola. My concern is that we're opening up a zone that's not even been in place for 6 months, but I do get the fact that at the very beginning, we were novice at it, and we're learning as we're going. But I do want to say to this council, that should be it. Now, as far as extending any zones to cannabis, I think we have enough. I don't think it's going to hurt too much where we're extending it on Route 46, but in the future, I would be very hesitant to agree to any additional zoning when it comes to the cannabis. May I have a motion on the ordinance?
So move.
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
First by Fasolo, second by Pellegrini. On roll call, we have Councilmembers Dennis.
Yes.
Fasolo.
Yes.
Golubek.
Yes.
Pellegrini.
Yes.
Sheridan.
Yes.
Council President Ballasteri.
Yes.
Motion carries. Now we have ordinances on second reading. We have Resolution R-130-23, introduced ordinance number 23-05 on second reading, whereas the public notice has been given by the...
I'm sorry, isn't this going to be tabled?
No.
Mr. Hillman's?
Yes.
Yes. I don't know if, Mike, did you address this with her? No.
Your Honor, not for anything, the mayor, but I think, if it's anything, it's just the first reading. She didn't finish. Is this the second reading? Second. And is that the letter that you're referring to?
Yes, Sal, nobody got the letter. Nobody got the letter, so I believe the council has the right to digest it before.
I don't think that's the case, man.
This is a different block of lot
Different block.
than this letter.
It's a different block.
This is 1202 lot 21. This letter refers to 1808 lot 79. So the second reading is not.
Not an issue.
This letter.
You didn't get a letter.
If I may,
Yes, please, Sal.
if I may. Apparently, the mayor received handed a letter from the planning board, and this letter was not spread or given to the council, the rest of the council. So, and it refers to a particular property, which is 401, 407, Route 46 redevelopment.
That's not the one she's reading right now.
Right, and which is not the one that is before you. So therefore, I thought the mayor mistakenly believed that this had to do with that, and based on the fact that he just received this, you have not had an opportunity to review the comments of the planning board. So therefore, he thought that this particular ordinance was the same one, and he would wish to have tabled it to discuss it when you had the opportunity of getting the letter. Apparently, that's not. This letter has nothing to do with the one before you.
No, it's two letters, but it has, can I just say, there's two letters.
Bear with us.
They both have the same address, right?
Yeah, they both have the same address.
But they both went before the planning board, but they both have the same address.
Yeah, they're two different.
They both have the same address. I don't know what, I have no idea.
They both have, we had comments.
When
They both were heard on March 8th.
when did they get this? And they had 45 days.
They didn't, they probably did after the first reading.
We already got the first. On
Right.
this. And this is the second reading.
Yes, these are the comments. They have comments, but they sent an email. We did not send a letter for their comments.
Okay, it wasn't within the 45 days.
Yes.
This letter is within the 45 days.
This one, yes.
Okay. But was that discussed?
No. But we still do.
Table it.
So for all intents and purposes, you have not yet received a physical letter.
I'm not receiving anything before this, except for.
Table it.
Well, how can you table something you don't have a letter for?
Within the email from the secretary, there was feedback, some sort of feedback within the email from the secretary. So they may have feedback, and that's when like Fran comes in and does his whole thing. So I'd rather do that than redo it again.
Yeah. You wanna adjourn it for that purpose? You can adjourn the second
They
reading.
had comments in that email.
It's the same one? Well, it's not the same. Two separate ones? Oh.
The one I had was the same.
Well, tabling it is a problem, because when you're tabling something, then you have to make a motion to untable and bring it on stage. You adjourn it for the purposes of waiting. They have 45 days. They have 45 days to answer and provide their comments. The 45 days is not yet lapsed. Okay, so you can say that we can adjourn until we get the letter and then wait for them to have the 45 days. If within that 45 days we get a letter, then you can discuss the letter, and then if you're going to override it, then you can by having testimony here. Okay.
So we're going to adjourn.
So you can adjourn this one for this point and carry it to the next meeting. Okay, potentially, if anything, at the work session, that could be acted on. Okay, otherwise you don't really have anything.
You want to recommend to the mayor that it be adjourned?
All right, Mayor, Mayor and Council, at this particular time, after reviewing these documents, it is my opinion that the council should, at this point, just adjourn this matter in order to receive the information that the planning board will provide in the comments. And based on that, since the 45 days have not lapsed for their right to have those comments, I would suggest that the council carry this particular ordinance for the second reading to the next meeting in order to get that opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Ingraffia. Moving along.
Okay, yes. Motion to carry.
Motion to carry?
Oh. Second? Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, next ordinance on second reading, we have Resolution R-131-23, introduced ordinance number 23-06 on second reading. Whereas the public notice has been given by the Borough Clerk that an ordinance entitled, "An Ordinance to Amend Chapter 7, Traffic of the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park," more specifically Article 7-13.1, parking prohibited at all times on certain streets, was introduced and passed at a meeting held on Thursday, February 16th, 2023, and that further consideration of this ordinance will be taken up at this meeting. And whereas all persons interested in said ordinance were given an opportunity to be heard concerning the same. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that an ordinance entitled, "An Ordinance to Amend Chapter 7, Traffic of the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park," more specifically Article 7-13.1, parking prohibited at all times on certain streets, passed on final reading.
May I have a motion to open to the public?
Second.
Anyone from the public here to comment on this ordinance and this ordinance alone? If not, I'll close the public portion. May I have a motion?
Second.
We got the two?
Yes. Yep.
Any discussion? Call the roll.
First by Pellegrin, second by Fasolo. On roll call, we have council members Dennis. Yes. Fasolo.
Yes.
Golombek. Pellegrin.
Yes.
Sheridan.
Yes.
Council President Ballasteri.
Yes.
Motion carries. Resolution R-132-23, introduced ordinance number 23-07 on second reading. Whereas the public notice has been given by the Borough Clerk that an ordinance entitled Bond Ordinance to Authorize the Installation of Synthetic Turf Athletic Field at the Borough Park and by and for the Borough of Elmwood Park in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $2,310,000 to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds, was introduced and passed at a meeting held on Thursday, February 16, 2023, and that further consideration of this ordinance would be taken up at this meeting, and whereas all persons interested in said ordinance were given an opportunity to be heard concerning the same. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that an ordinance entitled Bond Ordinance to Authorize the Installation of a Synthetic Turf Athletic Field at the Borough Park and by and for the Borough of Elmwood Park in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $2,310,000 to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds, passed on final reading.
Motion to open to the public.
So move.
Anyone care to speak on this ordinance? If not, I'll close the public portion. May I have a motion to adopt?
So move.
Call the roll, please.
First by Fasolo, second by Pellegrin. Our roll call, we have council members Dennis. Yes. Fasolo.
Yes.
Golombek.
Yes.
Pellegrin.
Yes.
Sheridan.
Yes.
Council President Ballesteri.
Yes.
Motion carries. Moving on to our consent agenda, we have resolutions R-133-23, approval of payroll, R-134-23, approval of bills list, R-135-23, authorized vacation buyback, R-136-23, authorized holiday buyback, Police Department, Michael Foligno, R-137-23, 2023 temporary budget appropriations, R-138-23, approval of transfers, R-139-23, capital budget amendment, R-140-23, capital budget amendment, R-141-23, authorized current estimate number 2, change order number 2 for year 2022-2023 CDBG 15th Avenue improvements, R-142-23, authorized current estimate number 3, change order numbers 3 and 4 for year 2022 and for year 2020 and 2021 CDBG 14th, 13th, and 17th Avenue improvements, R-143-23, authorized current estimate number 2, Vietnam Veterans Memorial Statue, R-144-23, award proposal for professional services, Alignment Group 2022 Road Program, R-145-23, authorized purchase of vehicle, Building Department, R-146-23, authorized purchase, Recreation Department, R-147-23, approve Elmwood Park Fire Department stipend program, fourth quarter compensation, R-148-23, resolution to appoint part-time fire inspector, Fire Prevention Bureau, R-149-23, appoint part-time fire protection inspector, William Engelhardt, Building Department, R-150-23, resolution amending the borough budget, more specifically amending the volunteer fire department fire stipend and clothing allowance, as well as establishing a bonus for the first-time sign-up for volunteers. R-151-23, medical director as provided by NJAC 8:41-1.1 et al. For EMS/BLS qualifications. R-152-23, formalizing a verbal resolution and vote on the February 16, 2023 public meeting of the Borough Council where nomination was made to appoint Loris Rivero to the Board of Health. R-153-23, appointment of Ladies Auxiliary Member. R-154-23, appointment of firefighters. R-155-23, hiring employees to staff the Elmwood Park Emergency Medical Service Unit. R-156-23, resolution to rescind liquor license renewal, Walter Ventura, number 0211-33-011-012. R-157-23, person-to-person liquor license transfer. R-158-23, resignation of firefighter. R-159-23, removal of firefighter. R-160-23, resolution to approve the consent agenda.
Take a breath.
Okay.
May I have a motion on the consent agenda? Any discussion, council?
I need a second. Second. Thank you.
Any discussion, council?
Okay. Council President Ballesteri. Okay.
Call the roll, please.
First by Pellegrini, second by Council President Ballesteri. On roll call, we have Council Members Dennis,
Yes.
Fasolo,
I abstain on R 150 to 23, and yes to the rest.
okay. Golubek,
Yes.
Pellegrini,
Yes.
Sheridan. Yes. Council President Ballesteri.
Yes.
Motion carries. For departmental reports, we have the Library Board meeting minutes from January 23rd, 2023.
May I have a motion, please? Any discussion? All in favor?
Okay, for applications, we have the Saddlebrook Unico Bingo for April 21st, 2023, and the Our Lady of Mount Virgin Church raffle, April 28th, 2023, and October 20th, 2023.
Motion to accept the applications.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Okay, Mayor, that concludes my portion of the meeting.
Council reports. We'll start with Mrs. Dennis. And she seems a little cold down there. Are you folks cold? Because I'm feeling it.
Oh, yes.
Can we lower that?
I feel validated.
Turn it on.
Thank you, Mayor.
I have a hooded sweatshirt in the back if you
I'll
need
take
it.
it.
Ooh.
Thank you very much, Pastor Ron, Mayor. Once again, just congratulations to EP crew. They've done a great job last season, wishing them a successful spring season. Congratulations again to Jeff Leader being honored this evening. Is very well deserved. Our recreation department is off to a great start. Basketball season has just ended, and the all-star 7th and 8th graders are starting their season this Saturday. Games start at 10 a.m., so come out and support the 7th and 8th graders. The spring break camp is sold out. So that's a great thing in there. And the Recreation Department is hiring for summer counselors. If you're interested, please reach out to Recreation Department directly. And Mayor, just really quickly, Resolution 131-23, the turf project, really excited that passed this evening, excited to upgrade our fields for our youth, and looking forward to seeing that project completed. Progress, Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Fasolo.
Progress, Mayor.
Councilman Golubek.
Thank you, Mayor. Two quick items. I'm happy to share, and the Borough Administrator shared with us via email today. We've applied for a grant through Congressman Pascrell's office. Each congressperson in the country gets to submit a certain amount of requests for funding for different community projects. One of the things this council has been working on the last 2 years is decorative street lamps for our boulevard, to liven up our boulevard, better lighting, better aesthetics. That is well underway. The first phase of that project is starting. We have money for another section, and we've been applying for the boulevard. In this instance, we are applying for Market Street between where the decorative lamps ended by the CVS, and applying from that section all the way essentially to the Saddlebrook border. As you come up the hill and down the hill on Market Street, you can see the lamps, from a distance and how beautiful they look. But there's this missing patch, and residents have actually complained generally that it's a little dark in that area. So I'm very optimistic and excited about that application. Hopefully the congressman can work his magic. And I think we're on a very, very good path to having two of our major arteries, Market and Boulevard, fully lit with beautiful street lamps, probably within the next 2 or 3 years. So that's very exciting from my perspective. The other thing I wanted to mention is we passed a resolution today changing the structure of our fire stipend program. So as we know, our fire department members are volunteers, but maybe 15 or 20 years ago, a program was instituted called LOSAP, Length of Service something program. And it was a way to give them a couple of dollars back for their contribution. About 8 or 9 years ago, a stipend program was implemented, and it judged every single month. It took records and statistics of how many calls every fireman responded to, and if you hit certain percentages, you were able to get a payment of sorts, a payment each quarter for that amount. What we've learned over time is that those numbers were hard to achieve. Well, what you had to achieve and what you were getting in return just wasn't lucrative enough, wasn't was not strong enough to keep growing the membership of the department. And it's located within the agenda. You can look at it yourself. But we tonight passed a very comprehensive update to our fire stipend program in the sense that I think it may be one of the strongest in all of Bergen County, and some towns don't even provide a program like this for our firemen. Within that proposal as well, it creates a program of a sign-on bonus for new potential members. It's not something they would get on day one, but those that, after this takes effect, sign up, pass Fire One, the course offered by the county, and then stay on for a certain amount of time, will get a one-time bonus. I think it's a reflection of our commitment to keeping the residents safe and a reflection of our commitment to rewarding and thanking our dozens of firemen that put their life on the line to protect us all. So that's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Daniel. I happened to be here when we started that stipend program for them. Well-deserved, for sure, and the updating of it, just like anything else, things are costing more money, and everybody needs to bring home a little more in order to keep up with the inflation that's going on, et cetera. Councilwoman Sheridan. I'm trying to keep you on your toes this way.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay. The Elmwood Park Elks, Friday, which is tomorrow night, they have their Stitch and Bee at 7:30. Wednesday, the 22nd, from 6:30 to 8:30 is hot dog special. It's $5 per person. The Elmwood Park homeowners is going to Wood Creek. Friday, March 24th, the bus will leave at 10 o'clock from the rec center, return at 7 p.m. It's $35 a course for a cash voucher. If you're interested, please call Linda at 201-966-7694. Also, Wednesday, March 22nd, the homeowners meeting at 7:30. We're going to have the fire official Steve from the Elmwood Park Fire Prevention Bureau, and we're also going to have Moon Star Smoke Shop, and that is at 7 o'clock on the 22nd. Progress, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilwoman Pellegrin.
Good evening, everyone. My Board of Health update. The next free rabies clinic for dogs and cats will be held Wednesday, May 17th from 5 to 7 p.m. at Firehouse Number 4, Mola Boulevard, and their next meeting will be held on Monday, April 10th at 7 p.m. The Residents Assistance Program update. On March 2nd, the People's Pantry received a new freezer through a grant that we received through the Bergen County Food Security Task Force. On March 9th, we were able to stock the entire freezer through the generosity of Mr. Larry Insera Jr., CEO of Insera ShopRites. We will now be able to offer more food options to help our residents in need. If anyone has any questions on the WRAP program or our pantry or is in need of help, please call Angela Fava or Dion York at extensions 106 or 104. Progress, Mayor.
Thank you. Council President Ballesteri.
Progress, Mayor.
Okay, then we're moving along. I guess that's my little report. Will be had the opportunity yesterday to be present with many of the folks up here on the dais. We were celebrating a new consulate to Elmwood Park, the Italian consulate. Sarah Cangelosi, she was honored with that title, and that means, from what I understand, that in her office, that little piece of ground is now part of Italy. It's she's like an ambassador in a sense, from what I was getting out of the definition, and it's an honor, a big honor. And that you had Congressman Pasquale there, the mayor of Garfield, the mayor of Rochelle Park, the mayor of Saddlebrook, Tedesco, the executive was there. I was there myself. We had council members here that with Lorraine Pellegrin, Daniel was there, Tanisha was there, Mr. Fasola was there, and Sandy was there, along with our attorney and our BA. Sean, you weren't there. I hate to point him out, but he wasn't there. He didn't need to be there. Let me make sure of that. A wonderful moment. It's something that Cangelosi family, bringing that entity into Elmwood Park is very honorable. And from what I understand, again, her district is the state of New Jersey, right? And Sal, you would go there for passports and et cetera, right?
Yes, Mayor, with regards to it is almost having another consulate from New York here. She has all of the authorities with the exception of one thing, and that's giving visas. Visas you're still going to have to get from New York. But however, I just want to make one comment, Mayor, and
Absolutely.
I think is deservingly. That morning of the event, we were notified that there was a bombing at the consulate in New York. And we were all very concerned. I had asked at that time as a delegate from Comites as vice president, which is an entity which is recognized by the Italian government, and through elections of New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and Bermuda, we get elected from those jurisdictions to represent the Italian American and the Italian community here in New Jersey, as well as in the tri-state area, as well as Bermuda. Through my effort in helping in getting this accomplished, we needed to have some sort of police participation, and I called, and of course, Chief Police Foligno just came to the rescue. He came there, and he was ready to give us the patrol in order to do the trafficking. But once I notified him of the event that occurred in New York, he took even bigger steps. We had a bomb squad from the county there to check with bomb dogs and so forth, and he had a squad of police officers there that would blow your mind. I can have to say at this point that everyone was very, very impressed with the police department's presence, the county police presence, as well as other individuals who were making sure that the whole process of the ribbon cutting and the opening of the embassy or the consulate would go smoothly without any problem. And thank God it went smoothly without a problem. So I just want to, on behalf of the Italian community, Italian American community, in behalf of the honorary consulate, as well as the consulate in New York, which they expressed to me to express to you, I'd like to thank Chief Foligno for the extra effort that he took in accomplishing this. And thank you. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Sal. And from what I understand, Mr. Ingraffia, he planned the whole ordeal. Am I correct in that?
I was given the pleasure of taking care and setting the whole thing up. Yes, Mayor.
And you should take a bow because it went off tremendously. I just got one little funny thing. Well, it was funny to me anyhow. I've established already that in Sarah's office, that land underneath there was Italian. And I took a look at my watch and I looked at the date. It was March 15th. Now, I'm standing next to Mr. Fasolo, and we're taking a picture with Sarah, and I just got chills up and down my spine. March 15th, beware the Ides of March, right? So I turned around and I looked at Mr. Fasolo because I got these chills, and I said, "Et tu, Brute?" Just a little sidebar there. Moving along. We had a good moment, wasn't it? It was funny.
It was very nice.
It was funny. I may have a motion to open the floor to the public.
So moved.
Okay, public. Whoever would care to speak on any topic, come forth, please, your name and address, right?
Hello, my name is Hugh O'Byrne, and I'm appearing on behalf of New Jersey Patient Care. With all of the talk Am I not? Can you hear me okay? Oh, sorry about that. With all of the goings on of adult use cannabis, we thought it was appropriate for us to introduce or reintroduce ourselves to Elmwood Park. New Jersey Patient Care is a medical-only dispensary, which received its permit from the state as part of the 2019 permitting application process and received municipal support from Elmwood Park in January 5th of 2022. Again, our facility will only be operating under the medical rules and will not participate in adult use cannabis, and it has no imminent plans to seek to do so. So in other words, it will be selling cannabis only to qualified patients that have been recommended by their physicians and that have appropriate medical cards, and those are the only people that would gain entrance to that facility. We are interested in we're seeking to, as you're looking to move or considering the zone for adult use cannabis, even though medical dispensaries aren't usually covered by the same sets of requirements and rules of adult use, we want to take this opportunity and consider that we are seeking 410 or 429 Market Streets for our location. And just wanted to introduce, remind, and introduce that topic to the council.
Is that within the zone?
Mayor, may I
Yeah.
just, the particular area that is being addressed, which is
410, 429 Market Street?
Okay, I know that as a fact that is not within the zone area. However, you have to understand what they're looking for is a medical use. Medical use is not covered by the zoning ordinance for the sole reason that it is purely under the jurisdiction of the state and the jurisdiction of the state health department. There are, in a worse, stricter rules that they have to abide with that any other licenses. Unfortunately, because of the zone aspect, and the particular zone is zone what, sir? The area, the address, what is it zoned? Yes.
410,
I believe it's zone just retail?
zone retail.
Okay. The particular zone itself is a retail zone. It can technically be allowed, but it is a use as a medical facility. I would have to look at, and together with the zoning officer, we have to look at the use ordinance that we have with regards to the particular area, that potentially the only thing that may need to be done is just to clarify the use.
Okay, well, Sal, let me interrupt you.
Yeah.
First of all, I think this should be going before the Cannabis Board.
Well, the Cannabis Board does not have that jurisdiction, okay? Because it has nothing to do with the actual cannabis.
Okay.
They're
So then,
under the-
I
they're
think
under
before
the
we start
auspices.
talking about zoning, and I think this should come to a work session,
Well, this is what I'm just giving you.
and let us discuss it.
Mayor, I'm just giving you a lead to it, and that's the next thing that I was going to advise the gentleman to do, is to send in a request to have the council address you in a work session.
Sir, there's no place in our zone that you can do this with?
Part of the zone problem that I think was addressed or is being addressed by the proposed ordinance is expanding what was a zoning issue that had essentially X'd out opportunities even for medical dispensaries. So that's why I think generally speaking from the consideration that was before the council for that ordinance of expanding the zone was to provide more real estate potential in the city. So there was not in the zone as originally construed an opportunity for this dispensary.
But potentially with regards to the amendment of the ordinance,
Potentially,
you
yes.
may be able to seek an opportunity in that area.
That is absolutely the case.
Okay. All right, go through the proper procedures.
Thank you.
Anyone else care to speak?
Evening, everyone. My name is Lenore Madracamo. I live at 92 Echo Place, and I came to speak about 401, 407 Route 46. I understand some recommendations may have been given to you from the planning board, and I'd like to elaborate on some of them. First of all, there's not enough parking spaces for 62 units and only allowing 1.2 or 1.5 parking spaces per unit. That's the first thing. Because if these people are in a one-bedroom unit and have two people that have a car, where's the second person going to park? At the planning board meeting, he didn't even discuss having COA apartments in there. And how many COA apartments? 3 bedrooms, how many? 2 people driving, possibly a teenager driving. You're talking a lot of unavailable parking for these cars. Then they're going to go park on Meyer Street, which isn't very long. That means they have to go on to Stefanik. Now, when the Victoria had an event before they shut down, I had cars from the Victoria's event parked in front of my house and down Echo Place, which is a good 3 blocks away. So if you don't have enough parking spaces for these people, it's not going to work. You're going to get a lot of angry residents. The other thing I came across was on page 9 of this application, he's talking about affordable housing, but he's also talking about they might be eligible for a pilot program. Now, we don't get a break in our taxes. He wants to put up a 60-foot building and get a break on his taxes or his or her taxes. I mean, come on. Dan is talking about all.
Mayor, can we correct Miss Lenore as she goes?
Yeah, Lenore, just
fine.
so we stay.
If I may, because the facts are very important. Of course, like, you know, obviously there's different opinions and views on this. One, no affordable housing component has ever been proposed as part of this project. No affordable housing component has been proposed as part of this project.
Isn't it required by the state?
No.
No.
We have met our obligation through our settlement with a different project in town. We don't have an obligation, and all of the pending projects before the borough have no representations from the borough or the prospective developer about affordable housing, okay? Our planner, who will be here, I guess, to discuss the comments at some point, will verify that. 2, the redevelopment process is the only key and trigger that allows for a pilot discussion. It's the only way it could ever come up. So that's why that language is probably included in every single template redevelopment report throughout the state of New Jersey. Again, there has been zero conversation between the Borough of Elmwood Park and this particular project site about a pilot that I'm aware of. And on this particular site, would not be in favor of a pilot. It's not even a conversation. So I just want to assure you of both of those 2 subjects.
Correct, that's correct. Where I wanted to stop and chime in is the amount of units in the parking spaces. I was there at that planning board meeting, and I didn't like the percentage myself. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. We're talking about Route 46 to start off with, correct?
Route 46.
Okay. 62 units and 93 parking spaces. So that's roughly 1.5 parking spaces per unit. The problem there is there's not one space available for visitors. And today, everything is predicated off of parking. This project, in my estimation, at this point, they're asking for too much. It should.
Mayor, may I intervene, please? I believe that you being a member of the planning board, this is not the proper place to express your views, and it would seem to potentially cause an issue ethically, and I would not want you to be in that position, sir.
I appreciate the consideration, but when am I supposed to speak up?
When the project comes before this council for the final approval, I think there is not a final approval yet.
No.
And once that comes before this council, that's where the issues can be addressed.
I'll go on the advice of the attorney. Please continue.
Okay, they're also talking about the building being 50 feet high. And then on top of that, you have the HVAC and every other unit on top of that, making the building 60 feet high. Now, they butt up against residential properties. Those people will have no sun. They will be in the shade all the time. They will also be listening to the HVAC and any other motors they may have. Now, I think they planned on having a loading dock or some type of delivery area on Meyer Street, which from the looks of it can't be that big. Now, we see how many FedEx trucks and UPS trucks and Amazon trucks that go down, up and down our neighborhood all the time. What's going to happen on Meyer Street and Stefanik Avenue with all those trucks making deliveries? There's no, well, first of all, they can't make a left-hand turn out of the building. They'll have to go on Route 46, and then they're going to swing around on Henry Street and then come down, and they're going to go down and get on Stefanik Avenue and take that to Midland to get on Route 46 going east instead of going down to the Jug Handle. Now that's going to create a lot of traffic. And if we don't do something about the parking, everybody that lives on Stefanik and Henry and in the other streets are all, they're going to come home and have people parking in front of their houses that they don't even know. So parking is a big consideration. The height of the building is really ridiculous also. Now they have trash pickup. It's supposed to be privately hauled. Now, where are they going to store, I mean, you're going to have 62 units, that's what they want. Where are they going to store all their recycling? Where are they going to store their garbage? If they're containing everything in this one little area, they're not going to have enough room for anything. And we have that, I think people were saying that a lot of the rats were coming out of the storm drains in the park, and not the park, but the basin. So it's just something to consider, that something needs to be done with thinking about what they're proposing and adding more restrictions to what they want to have. I just think it's, but also on the agenda, just was brought to my attention that it was listed 401, 407 was in the zone for this cannabis. Now, so what is this guy going to do? Give up doing this and then put up cannabis?
If you read the redevelopment plan, that if a redevelopment plan is adopted, that becomes the zoning for that property. The redevelopment plan specifically says that cannabis is not a permitted use if the area ends up being in redevelopment. That's in one of those pages. It should be in front of you.
So if it's geared to this 62 units or whatever is decided, then they cannot put up cannabis.
But where? In a two-bedroom apartment? I mean, you're familiar with the project, clearly. Where would someone put cannabis in the project you see in front of you?
What I'm saying is if he pulled the application before the council, and then he went for rezoning. And we all know that it's the responsibility of the property owner to maintain his property. Would you all agree about that?
Sure.
And yet, the planner came before everyone to say, well, you know, this is bad and that's bad and the spouts are done. Well, where was the code enforcement person to say, hey, what are you doing here? Why didn't he or she go to the owner of the property and say, this place is getting dilapidated, you gotta do something about it?
Well, I think
Why are things being ignored in this town?
there's two things. There's what qualifies as an area in need of redevelopment and what is a violation of maintenance code, borough code, and everything else. It can be two separate things. Something can be not pretty anymore, but not also be a violation of the law. There's a distinction, right?
He was going for abandonment of his property and deterioration of the property. That's what he was going for.
Who's, I don't understand, who?
The owner of the property.
Wh-
That's what he based his whole thing on. He says that it's been abandoned for 2 or 3 years, the property is deteriorating. So before he went for this,
Yeah.
where was the code enforcer to say, hey, look, your sidewalks are doing this, your concrete is doing that, the place is getting deteriorated, why don't you do something about it? I mean, if you had a homeowner with a fence that was broken, or, their gutters were hanging, I'm sure some neighbors would complain about it, and next thing, the code enforcer would be over there, but because it's on a highway, nobody wanted to do anything?
You think the pandemic and them running a catering business had something to do with the gradual decline of the business? I don't know, that might be, part of that?
Well, you also have Schuler Motors. Now, from my understanding, the person who owned it passed away, and the kids don't want anything to do with it. Now, eventually, if they don't change their mind, that property is going to go up for sale. And then you're going to have another one of these being proposed in that little area.
What makes you say that? I'm asking.
What makes me, because
Yeah.
you have a large piece of property, who's going to buy it? I mean, look what they did to the Hillman House. They want to put
Right.
16 units,
Okay.
16 townhouses on that little piece of property.
It's
with
three-fourths of an acre.
With no egress, and with egress, you can go in, but you can't come out. So it presents a fire hazard.
Wait, you're saying that property has an entrance, but you can't get out?
Right. Well, you can go in and out the same road, but they have it on the left-hand side, right? The entrance and the exit is on the left-hand side. They have 16 units parallel to River Road. So you can go in. Now what happens, hypothetically, if there was a fire in the first unit or the second unit, and you have all these apparatuses blocking this roadway, the only road going in there?
So every project like this, redevelopment-wise, whether it's this, the Hillman House, before that plan is like it is in front of you, the fire chief, the fire official, all review it, they all make comments, and every plan that we are considering, have considered, is always changed to reflect the wishes and desires of the fire department in every instance. Whatever they tell us needs to happen, happens as part of the process.
Who's in charge of enforcing the ordinances and the resolutions?
You want the...
Is that a question or an exam question?
I mean...
Is that an exam question? There are many officials in a town that are responsible in enforcing ordinances and resolutions and all sorts of aspects with regards to the town. Chief is one regarding traffic. There's various people that do.
Okay.
What's your question?
The question is, why isn't Milan Motors violations of the resolutions being enforced?
Can I answer that?
Yeah.
You were told by Mr. Conti that you're to deal with him on that, correct?
I just asked the question.
Mr. Conti is responsible for that. He's dealing with you directly, and he told you not to talk about that to us. He's going to handle that
Okay.
because you're harassing everyone.
It's not harassment.
Okay.
It's not harassment.
Talk to Mr. Conti. That's what he said, right?
Great, but it's not harassment, Michael. It's not harassment.
Talk to Mr. Conti.
Violations.
Thank
Talk
you.
to Mr. Conti.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Lenore. Anyone else care to speak?
Yeah, we were here to speak about the same thing.
Come forth, we can't hear you, dear. We need somebody to come up and give their name and address and speak in the mic. Your name, slow down,
My name is
please.
Debbie, and I'm an Elmwood Park resident for 16 years, and we're
Welcome.
We are here to speak about the same thing Lenore was speaking about, which apparently doesn't want to have discussion tonight. When will this be brought up for the people to hear what's going to go on with that property?
Good question. Mr.
That's what
Attorney,
we want to know.
when can they?
Will the town be notified the people? Now, you all were talking before about something that you're going to postpone because the rest of the council did not get paperwork on it yet. So in all fairness, I think we all, the people of Elmwood Park, need to get paperwork on what's going to be going on. If we didn't hear from word of mouth, we would never know. I live right by that unit, where those units are going to go. I am petrified that it's our police force is wonderful right now. Our fire department is wonderful. Why do we need more units? There are a lot of towns that are building them. I do know that. I know Hawthorne. I know the town I was born and raised in. When I go into that town, it's like a different place. But don't we have enough? So when is the next meeting going to be where the people could put their voice in? Unless, you know what? Unless really everybody pretends to give people a vote, but you're gonna do what you want to do. But really, we're worried about the parking. I already have people in Garfield parking on my block. It's fine. I manage, we try to manage. I live right by the park there, which they call the mosquito jungle. I'm scared to death what may go on in that park and what debris may be thrown over. I get enough debris thrown over my fence right now from Mosquito Park, which, first of all, your DPW was absolutely wonderful. I know it's a very, very hard park to maintain because of all the flooding. I'm scared. I'm going to be afraid to live there. I don't know why. Maybe because, like I said, we already get balls coming in my yard, which is lovely when the kids are out there playing, but it does happen. The balls come into my yard. We had a window broken 10 years ago. So when are the people going to be informed when a meeting, when we could discuss this, what Lenore was talking about? Our sewers can't hold up right now. But don't we have enough? Look at all we built already. Put something else there. That's all.
Sal, do we have an answer for that? I don't understand why they can't speak tonight about
You got
this.
very upset when that
It was in
brought
front of
up.
the planning board already, and they're responding to.
Mayor, look, I could only advise you. Then you are the officer, you are the officer in charge. You can choose and decide whatever you want to do. I can only advise you to legalities and ethics, and it's up to you, sir, if you would like to accept my advice or not. I mean, I can't
Well,
force you
Sal,
to accept
you know
my
what,
advice.
I don't understand. When do these people get the opportunity to speak on this?
There is a procedure that is followed, and opportunity will come when the matter is brought to finalization, the council approves it, and then any developer has to process an application through the planning board and/or zoning board, depending on what it is, and notices then are given, if necessary, depending on variances that are requested or actions that are requested. That's when notice is given to all the people around the area. But at this particular time, the ordinance is only an introduction of an event. The finalization of it is before either the planning board or zoning board, and that's where notice and everybody's notified.
Right.
And then everyone can have their input.
Okay. So Sal, excuse me one second.
Yes.
We need, this is new for us, this redevelopment, so we need clarification on this. At this point, we're going to be voting on this project fitting into that redevelopment situation. Is that correct?
Right now, you're not voting on anything because there is nothing before you to vote on.
Right.
So therefore, the discussion is moot. It is not applicable, it is not proper, and it is not fitting. When the matter comes before this council, The people, as well as the council, if you have ideas or opinions or objections, that can be stated at that time. However, in view of the fact that the planning board has been given an opportunity to review the particular ordinance for redevelopment, and they have 45 days to respond, that 45 days has not yet lapsed. Therefore, this means that this particular ordinance was placed on the agenda too soon.
Okay.
If without receiving a response from the planning board, this council cannot act on the ordinance to approve the second reading.
Yeah.
Therefore, it has to be adjourned to give that opportunity.
But yet,
Once that-
but then the breakdown here is it was originally on our agenda for vote this evening.
Right, I get it.
Yes, and it was
So they're
adjourned.
reacting, excuse me, they're reacting to what our mistake in essence.
No, that was
No,
not, was on the
no,
agenda tonight.
No.
It's your agenda, Mayor. It's your agenda.
Yeah.
I see what's out.
You don't know what's on it, though. This was the Hillman House that we pulled. So, no, to give you a very direct answer, here's what's gonna happen, okay? We did a first reading, the planning board reviewed it, there was comments, right? We get a letter, our planner comes in and discusses the comments one by one with us, and then we either modify the plan or come out here with the planner and say, great suggestions, planning board, but we disagree, boom, boom, boom. So in a perfect world, at the next work session, our planner will be there or whatever to talk with us. And then at the next public meeting, if we move ahead, either way, the next public meeting is most likely the best opportunity to talk to the
I
professionals.
totally get it.
Yeah.
Right now, you explained it properly, Sal. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, you're wonderful. I understand that, but the one thing I'm not comprehending, and I guess, is I'm hearing that once it goes to the planning board, and am I hearing the word, they're finalizing it, then you're gonna let us know, or we have?
No. It's the planning board or the zoning board, depending on the
So we
circumstances.
don't know yet.
That you won't know. You may not even know if there's anyone that's going to develop it. You may not have developers that'll go into it. So this property may sit there for another 5, 10, 15 years.
I hope so.
Okay?
Not
Well,
by then.
I'm just saying, this is just a process to allow someone who's interested in developing the area and making it a better and getting rid of a potentially something that is not
Okay, Sal.
amenable.
You know
That's
what?
about
I
it.
just hope you all realize we have enough, and let's put something there that may benefit everybody when the time comes.
Yeah.
Next year, 4 years, or 5 years from now.
No. Thank you very much for your concern. We're concerned also. Like I said, it's a little ambiguous. We're learning as we go with this new process. Anyone else care to speak?
Jeffrey Freitag, 35 Hillman Drive, Elmwood Park. The one thing I'd like to discuss is Ordinance 23-13, and that's the cannabis ordinance with the listings of blocks, lots, and particular addresses. And this was prepared by...
Jeff, you mean 29?
Pardon me?
129? Or 1?
I'm saying Ordinance 23-13. That's the actual ordinance.
No. There's one with the licenses, which is 124, and then 129. Am I right?
This is the one with all the addresses on Route 46.
That's the expansion.
It's expansion of the zone. Okay? Now, some of these addresses are actually in the areas where there's going to be redevelopment. How could that be? And I mean, well in advance. I'll get back to my question again. Who prepared this list?
The list was prepared by the planner.
Well, if the planner gets paid, how could, I mean, they know what's in the hopper. They're going to put addresses down. Now, how does that happen now if that is approved now, if it goes next month and is approved and it goes further, and then that's on the process for redevelopment. Are they then excluded, or is that going to change?
Good question, Jeff. Sal, do you have an answer for that?
Yeah, what happens is if by any accident, the particular property that's being redeveloped for residential use is and becomes part and parcel of an area where the cannabis ordinance extends itself to, the issue is not the actual property. The issue is the restrictions of the cannabis use that's going to control. So in an area where there is residential area, the cannabis cannot be implemented. It cannot be licensed.
It cannot.
No.
Okay, then why is it on here?
Doesn't have to be because it's on the main ordinance that addresses that issue. There is restrictions on how and where the cannabis and what restriction it has for the purpose of its being implemented and used. It's not being implemented in a residential area. It's excluded in any residential area.
Yeah, I understand that. But if it's approved for a redevelopment zone,
Mr. Freitag, I'm going to be very simple. If it's approved for a development for the purposes of residential purposes, you cannot have a cannabis use in
Now you're
a
yelling at me.
residential.
Don't yell.
I'm not yelling.
okay.
I'm just explaining. I may be getting a little closer to the microphone.
Okay.
I'm sorry if you think I'm yelling.
Sorry.
I'll back up a little bit. Any residential use cannot entertain a cannabis use. Period. Done.
Okay. Now, we have other addresses that are less than 500 feet away from school. Bank Street. Did the planner take that into account?
Again, there is an ordinance that says that any cannabis operation cannot be within a certain distance from a school. The question you have here is there a possibility that a school is across the street from 46? Potentially, I think there's a Gilbert School that's there.
Gannett.
Okay, a Gannett School, whatever. That's something which the Cannabis Board can make recommendation to exclude anything within that 500-foot area to be licensed, and can recommend to the mayor and council not to issue that license.
Because it's under the 500.
Yes. That's based on the wording of the main cannabis ordinance.
Now, was the Cannabis Board met since January?
No.
Okay. So, do they review these documents? Or is it?
Yes.
Okay. So when did they review them?
Soon as it's approved or discussed. As a matter of fact, the Cannabis Board has received the ordinance and may discuss it at a meeting and may make their own recommendation to and above the Planning Board, because this is also going to come before the Planning Board for consideration.
Okay. Also, last paragraph, section 6, in this particular, it says, the borough clerk and the borough attorney are authorized and directed to change any chapter, article, and/or section number of the code of the Borough of Elmwood Park in the event that the codification, i.e. codification change, right, of this ordinance reveals that there is a conflict between the numbers and the existing code. I guess numbers mean the numbers of the particular lots or lots. And in order to avoid confusion and possible accidental repeal of existing provisions not intended to be repealed, is that legal prevention or what is
Well, what it is technically you're correct. It's legal prevention. It's like a doctor administering a dose of antibiotics in order if there's something that...
prophylactically? Is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm only saying this. What it really encompasses, the apparent authority to change if there's a word or a definition of something that doesn't it conflicts, then that could be changed. That could be rectified, so the conflict is avoided.
So if there's a
So
number
ministerial,
that's wrong-
it's ministerial,
Yes.
it's purely ministerial, as well as just to correct wording which conflict with other ordinances.
So this body then would never address that issue? If
Sure,
that-
that would always be done through request and notice to the council,
Okay,
because it's the board attorney as well as the clerk, and the clerk and the board attorney have to report to the council.
now this ordinance is one reading too?
This is the first reading.
First reading. Okay. Michael, now we have one spot here that says jug handle, Route 46, jug handle. Handles Handle too.
Well, that's
This
the
is-
planning board.
this is
If you're going to go into spelling, I guess, sometimes the word processes
I
doesn't
think
work.
he was a composer handle.
Yeah.
The Messiah? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Freitag.
Thank you, Jeff. Anyone else care to speak from the public? If not, forever hold your peace. May I have a motion to close the public portion?
So move.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion to go into executive?
Executive?
We ready?
Mayor, if I may, I'm going to, at this time, request that there is nothing that I have to discuss. I was going to, however, under the circumstances, I think it should be done at a closed session at the work session, and have the attorney present there.
Okay, in the executive. You're requesting that. Okay. Are we finished with our business?
Yes, if there's no executive, then yes, we're good.
May I call for a motion to go?
Yep.
A motion to go into executive. There will be no action taken.
Motion to adjourn.
No
Oh, there is no executive.
Motion to adjourn.
I was going to, but under the circumstances,
So move.
Okay, gotcha. Motion to adjourn.
So move.
All in favor? Good night.